So, coming near the end now of this Danaher's Kimura system. There were 7 Kimuras. We'll talk about them later on. Let's look at the Trimura. So anytime I can control Declan's head, just let's get this over. Put you on your knees. Anytime I can control his head, we talked about how if I broke Declan down, anytime I went for the Kimura and I have the figure 4 in his arm, but I haven't head control, Declan can start to posture from this position because I haven't actually got head control. And if he brings his head over my head, now I'm actually, I'm in an uncomfortable position, and he's probably quite comfortable from here. The game changes though if I get the Kimura locked in with head control. Do your shift round. Just not going to happen, you know what I mean? Once you actually get the head involved inside the Kimura lock, it's going to be one of the very, very strong Kimuras. So we looked at, I'm not going into big detail on this because we covered this all in Danaher's triangle system and there's separate videos on this, but let's just go over some of the ways we can get into the Trimura from seated guard. So again, if we're playing the game, I can pass Declan's hand to the middle and get a pronated grip. I can get a 2-on-1 and I'll put that in my hip. He wants to pull his elbow back, so I get my foot in his hip and now I have an unweighted leg. From there I can just shoot straight into the triangle trap and be just moved back that way, bro. And if we, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just so I'm here. Okay, so once we're here, whether I start to attack the triangle and Declan does the Hodger Gracie defense, okay, or I decide just to lift my hip and bring it across myself. Once I'm there, I'm thinking about inverting my bottom knee. So notice the way I've got my ankles crossed. Once I get to this position, I'm physically going to turn my bottom knee down. So when I recross, my ankles are crossed at the far shoulder. And again, from that position, I will be getting wrist control, coming over the top and locking the Kimura, pulling Declan's elbow into my armpit, and now from there I can put it on. Just get one more angle on this side, you can see my knee. So just from our seated guard position, okay, we have the pronated grip, which we covered in the triangle system. So you just put it into my hip. So if he tries to pull his arm out, I'm stapling it with the 2-on-1, pull on the hip so he can't get his elbow back to his body, and now I have an unweighted leg. So I can just shoot straight into the triangle trap, and obviously we want to hit the triangle from here, but another thing I can do is I can let go. Declan wants to posture, it's no problem. I just bring that arm across, push it down and pull with my knees to get him into the desired position. I don't want my knee pointing up, so now from here we're going to turn onto our right hip. Notice the way now my knee's pointing down and I recross over the shoulder. So I'm on my hip. From this position now, I can pull his elbow towards me because I don't want to really lock the Kimura down here. I'm not at the shoulder line. Once I pull Declan's elbow in line with the shoulder, notice the way I'm on the power line now. Declan's shoulders are in line with his elbow and my head is in that line as well. Now from there I'll make a thumbless grip on his wrist. I come underneath and grab my own wrist. I'm pulling his elbow into my pec, and then we have the Kimura, the Trimura, which is just a triangle Kimura. Another way we got into it, that was the pronated grip. We did a supinated version as well, where maybe it's high hands and I can find his wrist. This time I'll glue it to my body, try to pull it back, foot comes in, unweighted leg, and now from there I pull him straight into the triangle trap. Again, from there I can lift my hips, bring this arm across, pull him back down again, and now I'm turning onto my hip. I want an inverted knee. So when I cross, my ankles are crossed at his far shoulder. Then from there I'll find the elbow and I'll pull it. I want to get on that power line. So I want his shoulders in line with his elbow and in line with my head. Again, a thumbless grip on the wrist. Once I push up and make my own grip, now from there I have the connection. That was the supinator grip. We then looked at, say, from a seated guard, Declan made a collar tie. This is a great, form of guard passing. If he then pushed my knee, and then he can pass, yeah, perfect, and then move around, switch positions, bro. So say we were here, making that collar tie, and basically putting Declan in the teeter-totter position, and now I can kind of rotate him this way and get into passing positions. So from here, let's just say he makes the collar tie, okay? From this position, I would never keep my knee up, because from here, if my knee is up, he can, yes, just rotate me and pass. So as a rule of thumb, if he makes a collar tie and puts and makes a grip on my knee, I'm putting my knee down, do that same move, bro. So just keeping my knee down stops that rotation. Then I put an over tie on him. That makes sense. So once I get into that position, nothing's really changed from there. My knee's down, foot on the hip, I have an unweighted leg, and I'm pulling him straight into the triangle trap again. So again, from that position, I can bring his arm across. Again, we want to invert this knee. Notice the way my ankles are crossed in the middle of his back. I want to be over that far shoulder. So I'm turning onto my side, and then I recross. So I'm over that far shoulder. Again, pulling his elbow in line. So straight line between his shoulders, his elbow and my head. And then from that position, I can work on locking the figure four, gluing his elbow to my pec or my armpit, and then we have the Trimura again. We can do it from, let's just say we're playing a game. Sometimes what will happen is Declan will put two hands on my biceps to obviously try and push me to get my back on the mat, and then he's ready for passing. Anytime he's here, I can just find the elbow, my hand comes inside, and I can karate chop that arm, pull your arm back. Foot goes in the hip, unweighted leg, and I pull him straight into the triangle trap again. I lift my hips, bring the arm across, find the head, cut the angle, get on that power line. So when I recross, pulling that elbow back, sometimes people, they can't make the figure four from there because the elbow's far too low down. I want to be pulling that elbow in line with Declan's shoulders, going nowhere, pushing his wrist towards my hip. So when I lock the triangle and I glue his elbow to my body, we have the Trimura. Another variation of that was maybe I got elbow control and wrist control. So again, just basically 2 feet on his hips, and now from that position I can push straight into the triangle trap again. Nothing's really changed. Bring it across, cut the angle, get on the power line, and then we are finishing the Trimura. So 4 or 5 different entrances into the triangle trap position, but instead of finishing with the triangle, we are finishing with the Kimura.